strategic stability and impedes the international arms control, disarmament, and non-proliferation process. When it comes to international obligations and multilateral rules, the U.S. practices American exceptionalism and double standards, follows a selective approach, constantly shifts the blame and shirks responsibility, and even withdraws from treaties and organizations. This falls far short of what is expected of a major country. It needs to be stressed that the U.S. is merely chasing shadows, and its accusations against China are nothing but fabrications. In international arms control and non-proliferation, China is committed to multilateralism and has always upheld the international system with the UN at its core and the international order based on international law, and faithfully fulfilled its international obligations and commitments. China has participated in the review process of the NPT, the BWC, and the CWC, advanced implementation of the Tianjin Biosecurity Guidelines for Code of Conduct for Scientists, started domestic procedure to ratify the UN's Firearms Protocol, and promoted the negotiation process for legal instruments on arms control in space. China has contributed its insights and solution. We urge the U.S. to stop its self-congratulatory, erroneous finger-pointing, take a long, hard look at its own behavior in arms control, disarmament, and non-proliferation, and earnestly address the international community's legitimate concerns over its compliance issue.
下一个问题。
Next question, please.
中国日报据报道，德国外长贝尔伯克接受德国媒。
According to reports, German Foreign Minister told an interview with German media that she warned China against using forces in Taiwan, and said that Germany and G7 would not sit idly by for military escalation there. And also, he said the German Foreign Ministry said on its social media account that destabilization in the Taiwan Strait will have serious consequences for the entire world and the world economy. And the shock wave of such a world economic crisis would also hit China and Germany. And the unilateral and violent change to the status quo is unacceptable to Europeans. Do you have any comments? When jointly met the press with German Foreign Minister, State Councilor and Foreign Minister Qin Gang made clear China's position on the Taiwan question. I want to stress that Taiwan's return to China is an important part of the post-Second World War international order. The real status quo of the Taiwan question is that both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to one and the same China. The Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests. Resolving the Taiwan question is a matter for the Chinese. No foreign forces has a right to interfere in the Taiwan question or expect China to make any concession on issues concerning its sovereignty and territorial integrity in front of external pressure. And the root cause of the tension in the Taiwan Strait is the Taiwan independence separatists seeking Taiwan independence with the support of external forces. We should stand against Taiwan independence and external interferences firmly. We hope relevant parties to respect history and facts, and hope certain politicians in Germany will have a correct understanding of history and fully understand what the Taiwan question is truly about. They need to abide by the One China principle and stop making irresponsible remarks. Next one, please.
From AFP. Hong Kong Bishop Stephen Chow is beginning an official visit to Beijing today, marking the first official visit by a Hong Kong bishop to mainland China since 1994. Does the Foreign Ministry have any comment on the bishop's visit?
香港的主教日前访问大陆，这是1994年以来首次有香港的大主教对内地进行这样的访问。你对此有何评论？
我想你提到的不是一个外交问题。
I think your question is not about foreign affairs. Next question, please.
谢谢发言人。环球时报记者提问：据报道，七国集团气候。
Global Times, according to reports, the joint statement of the G7 ministers meeting on climate, energy and environment did not voice support for the Japanese government's plan to discharge nuclear contaminated water into the ocean. At the press conference, Japan's Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry said that the steady decommissioning progress, including the release of treated water, will be welcomed. Germany's Minister for the Environment responded that he respects the efforts made by the Japanese side after the Fukushima nuclear accident, but we cannot welcome the release of the treated water, was China's comment. For some time, the Japanese side, for political purposes, has been ignoring the science-based legitimate security concerns of the international community and has been trying to downplay and cover up the hazards of the discharge by strengthening international public relations campaigns and rope other countries into supporting its discharge plan. China has noted that the international community has expressed strong concerns and opposition to Japan's plan. The Japanese public has held many assemblies to protest against the discharge plan. CGTN had a global survey. This survey attracted more than 30,000 citizens worldwide. Among them, 93% strongly oppose Japan's plan. Up to 90% say that they do not trust Japan's statement that the treated water is safe. Up to 86% criticize Japan for not handling the water in a science-based, open and transparent manner. Greenpeace issued a commentary on April 16, criticizing the Japanese government of violating international law, including UNCLOS. It wrote that the Japanese government has failed to conduct a comprehensive environmental impact assessment, including the impacts of transboundary marine pollution, adding that Japan is using the Pacific Ocean as a dumping ground for radioactive contaminated water. All this clearly shows that the Japanese government will not win any support if it unilaterally decides to dump the water into the ocean, transferring the unpredictable risks to the whole world. China once again urges Japan to face up to international concerns, take due responsibilities, earnestly fulfill international obligations, have thorough and meaningful consultations with stakeholders, including its neighbors, fully study and validate the best alternative to ocean discharge, to ensure nuclear contaminated water is handled in a scientific, open, transparent and safe manner and fully submit to international oversight. Japan must not start discharging the water before reaching consensus through full consultation with the neighboring countries and other stakeholders, as well as relevant international agencies.
下一个问题。
Next question, please.
谢发言人，总台央视记者提问：当地时间4月14号，美国政府宣布对涉芬太尼化学前体的中国企业和公民进行起诉。
The U.S. government announced indictment and sanctions against the Chinese individuals and entities involved in the trafficking of fentanyl precursor chemicals. What's your comment? While expressing the hope to resume counter-narcotics cooperation with China on various occasions, the U.S. is frequently indicting and sanctioning Chinese individuals and entities which seriously harm the lawful rights and interests of the companies and individuals. China strongly condemns this and has made a serious démarche to the U.S. side. The Chinese government takes a firm stance on counter-narcotics. Guided by the humanitarian spirit, we worked with the U.S. on the fentanyl abuse crisis in the U.S. in May 2019. China officially scheduled fentanyl-related substances as a class, becoming the first country to take such a move. This has played a significant role in preventing the illicit manufacturing, trafficking and abuse of fentanyl. However, in disregard of China's goodwill, the U.S. has shirked responsibilities to China and undermined China-U.S. cooperation in this field. It must be pointed out that the U.S. refers to as fentanyl precursor chemicals as general chemicals. As is common knowledge, the responsibility to prevent general chemicals from being channeled for drug-making purposes in international trade lies with the importer. The U.S. has distorted facts and used this as a pretext to indicted and sanctioned Chinese companies and individuals. This fully exposed the U.S.'s hegemony and high-handedness in flagrant defiance of the spirit of international rule of law. The root cause lies with the U.S. itself. With 5% of the world's population, the U.S. consumes 80% of opioids in the world. It is yet to permanently schedule fentanyl-related substances as a class. The international community has strengthened control of fentanyl-related substances. However, the U.S.'s fentanyl issue has been deteriorating. The U.S. should seriously reflect on this. Instead of working to reduce demand for drugs at home, strengthen management of prescription drugs, and step up public awareness campaign, the U.S. has resorted to grossly sanctioning other countries in an attempt to misrepresent facts, to mislead the public, and deflect the blame. The American people and the world can see this clearly. The U.S.'s indictments and sanctions against Chinese companies and individuals will add more obstacles to China-U.S. cooperation. Such moves will hurt others as well as the U.S. itself. If the U.S. truly wants to solve its drug problem, it should respect facts, reflect on itself, correct its wrong course, and stop shifting the blame. China will continue to do what is necessary to safeguard the lawful rights and interests of Chinese companies and individuals. Next question, please.
NHK, the G7 foreign ministers meeting was held in Japan, and the foreign ministers expressed opposition to China using forces to change the status quo in Taiwan and reaffirmed the importance of peace and stability. Do you have any comments?
There is but one China in the world. Taiwan is an inseparable part of China's territory. The government of the People's Republic of China is the lawful, sole legal government representing the whole of China. This is the core of the One China principle and the key to safeguarding peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Relevant countries should see that Taiwan question is China's internal affair and does not brook external interference. Although the two sides of the Taiwan Strait has not been reunited, but the mainland and Taiwan belong to one and only China. Taiwan is part of China's territory. China's sovereignty and territorial integrity has never been divided. This is the true status quo of Taiwan Strait. The reunification of Taiwan with China is an important part of a post-war international order. Upholding the One China principle is upholding the post-war international order. If one truly cares about the situation, one should have a clear understanding of the root cause of the tensions in the Taiwan Strait. Facts prove that the separatist activities of Taiwan independence elements under the support and connivance of external forces is the fundamental reason behind the harm to the status quo of the Taiwan Strait and the tensions in the Taiwan Strait. To uphold the stability, peace, and tranquility in the region, one must unequivocally support the One China principle and oppose Taiwan independence separatist activities. If one only pays lip service to the One China principle and turn a blind eye to the Taiwan independence separatist activities, and even connive at or support them, this is undermining Taiwan, the peace and the stability in the Taiwan Strait. This is irresponsible. Next question, please.
AFP. Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu had a meeting with Russian President Putin in Moscow over the weekend, during which Li emphasized the strategic importance of bilateral ties between the two countries. With Russia's military aggression in Ukraine continuing into a second year, what is China's reasoning for enhancing military ties with Moscow?
发 新社提问：周末的时候，中国国防部长李尚福访问了俄罗斯，并会见了普京总统。李尚福强调了中俄双边关系的这个战略重要性。那么，随着俄罗斯入侵乌克兰的战争进入了第2个年头，中国觉得有什么理由要和俄罗斯提升双边的军事联系呢？
关于你提到的访问情况，中国国防
China's Ministry of National Defense has released a readout about the visit, which you may refer to, on China-Russia relations. China and Russia have developed a new type of major country relations featuring mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation under the principle of non-alliance, non-confrontation, and non-targeting any third party. China stands ready to work with Russia to implement the common understanding between the two presidents and promote further progress of the relationship. China's position on the Ukraine crisis is consistent and clear. We promote peace talks. We would like to work with the rest of the world and play a constructive role on the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis. Next question, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Anything else?
From AFP. Australian police have said that an Australian businessman has been selling information about lithium mining in Australia to 2 Chinese spies. Does the Foreign Ministry have any details to add on this case?
澳大利亚警方表示，一名澳籍商人一直向中方的情报人员出售有关锂矿的一些信息。你对此有何回应 ？Could you repeat your question, please？ 请记者再重复一遍问题。
情况我并不掌握。
I'm not aware of what you asked about. Anything else? That's all for today. Thank you for coming.